Hello, it's been some time. It's great to see you again. And welcome to Kitbash, my new show where I take hero kits, look at hero kits, I make them, I shake them, I break them up, and it's a new change for my channel where I make game stuff. I just graduated college with my game design degree, and I figure it's time to get back into the swing of things by putting that shit to use on YouTube. You can say shit now in the first 7 seconds. But today's topic, Marvel Rivals. In case you somehow live under a rock, it's here to stay, and it's not going anywhere. But let me get you caught up to speed. Similarly to Overwatch, Rivals is a 6v6, I guess Overwatch is 5 now, third-person hero shooter. Players will load into matches, pick one of about 40 heroes, spread between 3 different roles: Vanguard, Duelist, and Strategy. The 3 roles fall into 3 easily digestible tropes. Vanguard soak up damage and healing, Duelist dish out damage, and supports healer allies while providing various other utilities. But it's important to know one less talked about aspect of Marvel Rivals. Characters can be designated within the Venn diagram of multiple roles, such as Mr. Fantastic being the equivalent of a Duelist Vanguard, and Ultron being kind of a strategist Duelist. While the game doesn't technically classify characters as having multiple roles based on their abilities, they do not fit the mold. Before we get started on today's kit though, I'd like to lay down design philosophy rules for this video and series as a whole. First rule is I need to stay true to the source material. I'm not going to be hitting you with the Marvel Rivals, new 4th class, the Goon Goblin, it's all the characters in this role do it. No, I'm not doing that stupid stuff. I'm laying and staying with what the devs put forth. Number 2 is fun first. I don't want to make things that are unfun. I don't think any designer really does. Obviously, there are caveats. Getting stunned is not fun, but it's kind of a necessary evil for these types of games. So most if not all of my designs are going to try to have a fun first approach. My third rule is feasibility, and that's kind of a 3-pronged sword. First off, it needs to be possible for developers to actually make. No crazy reality warping character leaves your game and goes on your desktop. Players should be able to interact with what I'm designing. I'm not going to ask you to juggle bowling pins and play with your feet while you're doing this character. That's not fun. And third, and probably most importantly, is it needs to be able to run on your computer. Doctor Strange Portal, for example, did not run on your computer when the game first came out. With that, let's talk about today's subject, Deadpool. The Merc with the Mouth, Wade Wilson, aka Deadpool, has already popped up a few times in Marvel Rivals code from leakers and things like that. Deadpool has always been my favorite Marvel character, and since he is my most anticipated character for Rivals, I wanted to see if I could do him some justice for this first video. Let's talk design intentions. Deadpool is known in comics as a lethal killing machine, a mercenary with years of training in the art of murdering the shit out of people. He wields katanas, pistols, knives, and grenades, and is generally considered a great hand-to-hand combatant. And that's why we're making him a Vanguard. Relax. Duelist players, drop the pitchforks and hear me out. Rivals has glaring problems in regards to its hero roster. A majority of its most badass characters are duelists. I'm a tank support player, so call me biased for making my most anticipated hero a tank, but I think it could genuinely be better for the game for 2 reasons. The first reason: having more cool tanks will make people more likely to play tank. It's kind of a known problem in Rivals that you'll load in and 4 people will insta-lock Duelist, and I understand. Duelists are cool, they're flashy, they have cool kits, they deal tons of damage, they're awesome. But you know what won't help the problem with 5 people insta-locking Duelists? More Duelists! The second reason I'm choosing to make Deadpool a tank requires that we first look at the Vanguard role as a whole. When categorizing the tanks in Rivals, I believe they all fit nicely somewhere within this chart. To me, tanks primarily serve 3 distinct purposes: defense, displacement, and dive. Every character in Rivals does damage, so we'll sort tanks on their ability to do one of these 3 things. Defense is their ability to support themselves and their allies, blocking damage, giving shields, or holding down an objective. Displacement is a tank's ability to affect the battlefield beyond damage. Stuns and CC would fit here, but also traversal like Strange Portal. Dive is the ability to simply jump in the backline, whoop some ass, and come out alive. This is, to my best estimate, a generally accurate array of the tanks, very heavily skewed towards defense and dive. The lack of skew towards displacement makes sense, however, as a character made up of only CC and traversal options would probably end up broken. But we'll see when we eventually tackle Nightcrawler. But where does our Merc fit in? Ideally, we want to pick a dead zone in the chart. I also plan on avoiding much, if any, CC for Deadpool, as it just doesn't make much sense for his character, and there's already so much CC in the game. Thus, I'm thinking of putting Deadpool here. And finally, after so much waiting and me talking, let's Kitbash. Starting with his basic attacks, Deadpool's going to have two options that can be switched with the scroll wheel, similarly to Punisher. First, his dual katanas. Deadpool performs a series of slashes with his katanas, the third hit of which being a combo, dealing a dual slash that does increased damage in a wider area. On screen for all these abilities, you'll see relevant stats that I decided. I kind of did my best to base them off of other characters' stats to make it a very centralized and unified amount of damage and range and all that. Second, his other basic attack is dual pistols. Deadpool wields twin pistols, each of which has 12 bullets. He alternates firing them, and they are hit scan. As far as I'm aware, we don't really have a true hybrid tank that can switch between melee and ranged yet. I would count Emma, but her beam is often too short to reach further away enemies, so Deadpool will be the first tank to truly change his attack style. While most Deadpool players will probably use his katanas as they'll do a bit more damage and be a bit more effective in melee fights, his pistols will play into his obnoxious personality, allowing Deadpool to harass flyers from a distance, which will cause them to stay on their toes. Similarly to Wolverine, Deadpool has two distinct passives. The first, Show Off, is based on his mutate powers, his signature healing ability. Deadpool will have a flat regeneration rate of 5 HP a second. This amount will increase by 1 HP per second for each nearby enemy and ally. Although Deadpool is being given some good offensive options in his kit, I wanted to make sure players are actively incentivized to take team fights and not 1v1s. His second passive, Merc with the Mouth, sets the stage for the type of tank Deadpool is. Unlike other tanks who can create shields and engage in explosive warfare, Deadpool will be a taunt tank. For starters, Deadpool is going to take 10% increased damage from all sources, incentivizing enemies to attack him, but nearby allies will also take 15% reduced damage as long as they're standing near Deadpool. This is to play into Deadpool's personality as just an annoying guy. He won't shut up, and that's so powerful that it literally reduces the damage your allies take while he is alive. And that is where that secondary reason Deadpool would make a good vanguard. We can make him a taunt tank. Deadpool's E is Agitate. It's basically an evolution to his passive, which this does not stack with. Choose a target. For 5 seconds, they are agitated, dealing increased damage to Wade, 25%, while dealing less damage to his allies, 50%. This can work in multiple scenarios. If, for example, your backline is being dove by a Black Panther or Magic, you can simply flip around and agitate them, giving your strategist 5 seconds to survive and attempt to deal with the problem. On the other end, Ultimates like Magneto's can have their bursts reduced, or Punisher can be shut down for a small amount of time. This ability is powerful, and probably should be balanced around a 20 to 30 second cooldown. Deadpool's right click is Mercenary's Fury. I wanted to make sure Deadpool had at least one purely offensive move in his arsenal, and Mercenary Fury is that move. Its effects depends on his currently equipped weapon. His katanas will unleash a flurry of slashes in the direction he's looking for 4 seconds, enemies in the Maelstrom taking 50 damage a second. Projectiles that hit the storm of strikes are also deflected in a random direction, giving Deadpool some good forward pushing power. His pistols, on the other hand, cause him to mag dump before quickly reloading over 2 seconds. When mag dumping, the pistols are far less accurate, making the move most effective in closer range. Furthermore, enemies struck by the mag dump are pushed back per bullet that hits them, allowing Deadpool to efficiently make space and knock enemies back. Deadpool's mobility option, Teleporter, allows him to tap into his teleporter, blinking in the direction he is currently moving. This ability can be cast multiple times in quick succession, but each cast after the first, within a 7-second period, has a stacking 25% chance to backfire. On a failure, the teleporter backfires, going on a 10-second cooldown and dealing 100 damage to Deadpool. It was difficult for me to decide on a good movement ability for Deadpool, so I dug deep, taking a look at some of his previous game titles, particularly Deadpool 2013, where he has an extremely similar teleportation device. I did want to encourage a risk versus reward playstyle with this move, allowing players to decide if they're going to gamble by teleporting multiple times, or play it safer by waiting for the malfunction rate to drop. In the Deadpool game, the teleporter will always explode every couple of uses, so this iteration aims to put a little bit more control in the player's hands. Finally, Deadpool's ultimate, Maximum Effort. Deadpool gains a ton of rapidly decaying health regeneration that resets on getting a kill or assist. While he has this regeneration, his ability cooldowns are reduced by 25%, and nearby enemies are all agitated. Deadpool cannot be healed by allies during Maximum Effort, but can cast it while dead, bringing him back to life in the spot that he died. Maximum Effort plays into Deadpool's power fantasy more than all his other abilities. He can defy death, jumping back into the fray while demanding that his enemies pay attention to him. They won't accomplish much if they don't. Allowing Deadpool to revive himself also allows this to be a big playmaking ultimate that doesn't just involve dealing a ton of damage, which I hope will be a nice shakeup. And lastly, the team-up. Best friends forever. Deadpool and Wolverine rapidly approach each other, arguing as they begin to fight for 8 seconds. The two become one big ball of smoke, swords, and claws, with both players taking turns controlling the direction the fight rolls. Enemies in the brawl take 75 damage a second and are slowed briefly when entering. Damage taken by the ball is split evenly between both Wolverine and Deadpool, but both receive half the effects of Show Off during the duration. I imagine Tom and Jerry, when I think about this team up, the two arguing and brawling while everybody else who gets in the way feels the effects of it more than anybody else. This is an interesting tool that would kind of function similarly to how Wrecking Ball rolls around in Overwatch, and would mostly be kind of funny, but a way for them to kind of get in and out while dealing a little bit of damage and taking a little less damage. Good engagement tool, in my opinion. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope I was able to appease you all and hit my design goals of making an interesting and fun tank that doesn't rely too much on annoying gameplay styles or steps on the toes of too many other characters. That's it for Kitbash. As for the rest of you who are back and are saying, Nitrosucky's back, Nitrosucky's back, I want to apologize for my extended absence. So much has happened. I got married, I graduated university, I moved, and I'm moving again soon, and just so much, but I'm finally ready now to come back, make more game development videos, talk about stuff I'm working on, more Kitbash, maybe do some level design breakdown stuff, maybe even some return to form with some of my old comedy stuff. I'm getting back into the swing of things. This video might seem a little, it's very weird to be back and doing this and talking to a camera in front of people, but I'm just excited to get back and make fun stuff. I really appreciate those who have stuck around. I hit 100 subscribers. I still need to do something for that. It was my original goal when I started YouTube, and I did it a while ago. But yeah, thank you guys all so much for watching, and until next time, stay soggy. No, I'm not saying that again. Sorry. Goodbye.